Hello everyone, this is Komal Mathur, a legal intern at Lexis and Company and a law student at Manipal University, Jaipur. I'm glad to have this opportunity to intern with Lexis and Company, and which is why I'm presenting this video here. So the topic or purpose of today's video is short analysis of Mines Act of 1952. So let us start with an introduction. India has a long history of mining and majority of its economic output is due to mining only. In a country where public sector businesses produce 80% of the output and the private enterprises creates the remaining 20% of the output, legislation was needed to regulate and investigate the mining industry's frauds and hazardness. As a result, in 1952 and 1957, our central government passed the Mines and Minerals Act and the Mines Act. Now let us know about the objective, aims and scope of this act. It is vital to clarify what mines are in order to comprehend the act's goal, objectives and restrictions. Mines are defined in section 2 subclause I of the act as any type of evacuation or extraction carried out on the earth crust in order to get minerals. Now, as a result, the act's major purpose is to ensure the mine labor and safety while also regulating and updating the legislation for the benefit of the mine laborers or the workers. Both federal and state government are responsible for the mining industry's regulating structure. Minerals are classified into two groups. The first is known as the major minerals, while the second is known as the minor minerals. Now, the state government makes the policies regarding the exploration, extraction, and processing of all the minor minerals, while the federal government is in the charge of the big mineral revision, royalty, fixing, and regulation issuance, among other things, which is related to the major mineral category. Now, one of the main goal of this act is to improve the working condition of the mine workers. As a result, the Mines Act of 1952 tries to govern the working conditions of the miners. Annual leave with the wages for mine workers as well as the hours and limitations of the employment. Now, the main aim or the objective of this act is to establish preparations for health and safety of the mine workers, such as drinking water, conservation, medical equipment, and the owner's, agents, or managers' responsibility to report accidents to the right authorities. Now, the other aim is to provide provisions related to the working hours and the limitations, such as the weekly day of rest or a compensating day of rest, hours of work above and below the ground night shift, overtime pay, and daily work hours limitations. Another objective was to provide provisions for paid leaves and method of reoccupying the unpaid pay. The central government establishes accident committees for the aim of appointing authorities to investigate such accidents which are happened in such mining locations. These committees are given civil court-like powers. It inspects employees in order to achieve a fair and healthy environment in the mines. It also aims to ensure that the mine law is followed by the labor and as well as the authorities. Now, what are the exemptions under this act? The aforementioned act does not apply to any excavations or digging carried out for the purpose of prospecting or mineral extraction. In layman's term, I would like to explain that the goal of mineral extraction is critical in determining any operation under this act. Minerals should also be extracted for business purpose to be sold. Furthermore, if the central government deems it necessary to change or to alter any of the working class mines or the other parts of the site thereof or the land and relation, it may do so by issuing gazetted notifications. Now, let us know about some mining operations and management of mines. Before beginning any mining operation, the owner, the agent, or the manager of the mine must send a notice in writing to the chief inspector, the controller of the Indian Bureau of Mines, and the district magistrate in the area where the mine is located. Every mine must have a sole management who possesses the required qualification for such a position. The owner or the agent of each mine must choose a person who possesses such quality as a manager. Furthermore, if the owner or agent meets the required credentials, she or he may be appointed oneself as manager. Now let us know about the bylaws, regulations and rules related to this act. The central government can make regulations and bylaws for appointment as chief inspector or inspector, as well as for the duties and powers of the chief inspector or inspectors. Now they can as well as for do the same for facilitating mine managers and other persons acting under them, for granting and renewing certificates of competency and determining fees for exempted person, for regulating the provisions of the Indian Explosive Acts of 1884, for prohibiting, restricting and regulating the employment of women in mines or on particular kinds of labor, for the safety of person employed in a mine as well as for the safety of their family. Now, what is the power of court in such cases? The court has authority to issue orders. Whenever a mine owner, agent or manager is convicted of an offence which is particularly mentioned in any of the related acts, the court may, in addition to imposing a penalty, may order him to take certain actions within a certain time period and to correct the problem that led to that particular offence. When a court order is issued, the mine owner, agent or the manager will not be held liable for the continuation of the offence during the period of the order. If any, but if the order of the court is not fully followed, all such owners, agents or managers will be deemed to have committed a new offence and will be sentenced to prison also. Moving towards the conclusion, the Mines Act of 1957 was enacted to address potential employment in the mining industry as well as for the safety and progress of mine workers. The statute prohibits the use of superfluous and manipulated labor among the poor, as well as providing them with essential platform to be heard in the event of injustice. As a result, comprehensive legislation is required for the country's economic development as well as the reform of the less privileged people. That's it for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.